and subscribe. Live for Love TV.
Like, share, Live for Love TV.
Welcome to Live for Love TV. Today is the third day of the second month, the 22nd year in the 21st century. I hope everyone's doing well out there. Today we're going to go back over a subject that is, as you know by now on Live for Love TV, is not so much a favorite but an essential conversation that I normally have at some point. It doesn't take me maybe a few months, I'll go by and I don't say anything about it, but then I'll go back onto it because it's something that affects a lot of people, especially on Live for Love TV, and it's racism. And when I say racism, I'm not taking just the definition you get in the dictionaries or certain places where people, encyclopedias, wherever you can find a dictionary of racism, because I've heard people say that, for instance, black people can't be racist because they don't hold power, they don't hold serious power that can stop people from going to getting jobs and getting houses and stuff like that. Well, that is a version of racism, but that's not the only form of racism that I'm referring to here. I'm talking about the racism that's born of hate based on your race, your skin color, your hue, as they say, H-U-E. And that's what I'm talking about. And from that perspective, to me, anybody can be racist. Whether you like it or not, anybody can be racist. If you dislike somebody because of the way they were born, and it's different from the way you were born, then to me, that's racism. And I take my own definitions on that. And I don't adhere to it in any way whatsoever. So, just as I've fought throughout my life against white racism against people such as me, I'd always fight against what I see as racism against people that don't look like me. I'll always fight against, I'll stand against it at any point. I don't care who you are. I really don't care who you are. Don't care how much you look like me or even sound like me. Once I can hear your hate is based on external factors, or your dislike for someone is based on external factors, we're going to drift apart. We have to, because we are from a different breed. We're about love, and that is hate. Now, you can dislike people based on things that come out of their mouth, their utterances, their positions, their stand, because that's where you can get that kind of hateful behavior. And that can come from anybody, as you'll be aware, especially watching this channel. That can come from anybody who looks like you or doesn't look like you. Sometimes you may find you are with your brothers and you're having to fight people from a different race, but it's not based, from my perspective, on the color of somebody else's skin. It's based on the fact that aggression is coming towards you, hate is coming towards you, war is coming towards you, and it must be repelled. So that it may look from the outside that you're looking at a racial war, but it wouldn't be a racial war in that case. It would be based on, as Emperor Haile Selassie made it quite clear, good over evil. So the reason I bring up things like this when it comes about racism is because a lot of people have real problems with other people, and even if you haven't grown up in somebody else's culture, or you don't have a great understanding of them, there has to be something missing in you for you to dislike somebody for the way they were born. There has to be. There's no if, buts, or maybes in my concept. There has to be something wrong with you. And the problem with a European who hates someone like me, or people from my race, or someone like me who hates people from another race, or a Chinese man, or Chinaman, or an Arab, or whatever, that hates people from other races, that sooner or later you're going to see that he hates people within his own race as well. He always starts, as time goes on, it always shows itself that hate is not confined. And they use excuses. They, as the Europeans would have said, they'll hate anybody in their own race if he's a Nigger lover. So now they're saying anybody who doesn't hate like they hate, they can hate that person even though they look like them. And that happens that can happen in the black race, the Chinese race, the Asian race, the Indian race, whatever. It can happen to anybody, because that's what hate does. Hate first starts off by claiming it's one set of people they're against. This is what happened with Nazi Germany, and then it starts to turn on all other people, because hate is like a fire that gets out of control. You may have a little fire and you think you've got it contained, but if you turn your back on it for long enough, and you turn back and you see it's out of control, now you're having to run for your life yourself. Because that's how hate is. It's like a fire that, given the right conditions, it can go out of control. Just the right kind of wind, the right kind of stillness, the right kind of dry weather, and it can get out of control. That's what hate is, and that's the reason why you have no way of combating hate, even within yourself, unless you're dealing with love. And that's why this channel was born. So when I talk about people that are racist, I usually talk about people who are racist towards African people, towards black people, because that's how I feel it. But anybody can say it. Any European can say somebody who's racist towards them, a black person, an Indian, a Chinese, or whatever, who's racist towards them. They hold the same contempt for me in my heart. They hold the same contempt. I have no respect for people like that. I know they're missing something that they need to be a whole and rounded human being. So when I talk about them, when I think about people like that, regardless of where they're from, it's sad that they're like that, but I never turn my back on people like that. Don't care how much they look like me, I'll never turn my back on them, because I know that their hate is not something they can contain. It's like a fire, like I say. And as I said before, unlike love, hate is something, it's completely out of any forms of control. And it may seem like it's in control when you're young or when you're coming up a little point, but as time goes on, it gets worse and worse and worse. So try and stick on the love side, stick with Live for Love TV, whether you're black, white, Asian, Chinese, Indian. If you're not a hater, this is the place to be. If you're someone who can argue your points, look at positions. I mean, I know, before I go into that, I know people, European people who I've worked with over the years. I know the difference between someone who doesn't like me because of the color of my skin and someone who doesn't like me because of my attitude. And not because I'm an uppity Negro, but just doesn't like me because of my attitude. I can tell the difference because I know who I am. And I've come across a lot of Europeans over the years who don't like me, and it hasn't got nothing to do with the fact that I'm black. It's got to do with the character I have, the personality I have. They just don't like that kind of person I am, and that's good, that's okay. I can live with that. That's their thing. People, they say spirit doesn't take to certain people, no problem. But there are other people who don't like you simply because of your color of your skin. And with those kind of people, there's no ground to be had. There's nothing to be said. Just the way they think about you is the way you can think about them. We don't want to get too deep on what we do with people like that. We know what they want to do to us, and we know exactly how to deal with people like that. But the point is that there are differences, and you can't look at everybody who doesn't like you and say it's because you are white, or because you are black, or because you're a Chinaman, or because you're in. It's not always the case. There is such a thing as called as character and personality, and some people are not going to take to your character or personality. That may go back way, way down in the DNA. We don't know where all of it comes from, but you've got to know the difference. Once you know yourself, you'll know the difference. Anyway, take care, look after yourself, and we'll be back at you soon. Live for Love TV.